Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here, and big news coming out of the Secret Lair product category. In just a couple months, you'll be able to pull Secret Lair cards in your set boosters. Wow, I guess that's the big headline everybody wants to lead with, unless they actually read this article. Spoiler alert, this is just Wizards doing the bare minimum to try to get away with Secret Lair Walking Dead again and all this extended universe tie-in crap. So let's just buzz through the intro here. A few months back, we shared some exciting new partnerships with our Universes Beyond line. I believe it's, Warhammer 40k? I know Lord of the Rings was in there. I mean, those are two pretty high crossover percentages with the Magic crowd, I would assume. So, I mean, not bad choices. Just a lot of people didn't like going out of universe at all. Some people accepted that they called it a thing. They kind of put it in like its own little gate by giving it a name. It's called Secret Lair Universes Beyond, or really just Universes Beyond at all, because the entire next set, the D&D set, is Universes Beyond, which means it's not in the official Magic canon. The characters are not meant to be somewhere in the Magic multiverse. So some people are just like, okay, as long as you say that Captain Picard isn't a planeswalker in the actual official canon, then whatever, go sell your little crossover thing. By the way, Star Trek 1, not announced yet, but it's either going to be that, Star Wars, or Marvel. I guarantee it. Other people are like, take it or leave it. And me, I'm personally like, well, Secret Lair shouldn't even exist in the first place. But if they're going to go completely out of universe, I guess everybody thinks it's a bad idea until they circle around to their number one fandoms. Like, I even said, like, if they made a Stargate SG-1 one, I'd probably buy it. Outlaw Star, Dot Hack, yeah, I'm that big of a fan of all three. Now, Star Trek, I'm a pretty big fan, but not big enough to buy it. So it's like, it would have to be like an all-time favorite thing of mine or anybody else's to buy it. In my opinion, unless somebody's just got money to burn on something they're vaguely interested in. If they're like, oh yeah, I kind of like Rick and Morty, okay, I'll buy it. Now, I think you got to be pretty hardcore into whatever they do a tie-in with to buy it. And that's why I think generally this is a dumber idea than just, using Magic characters. Like, if you're going to try and sell a product to Magic players, put Magic characters in it. I mean, you go get like some Weatherlight characters, some old Dominaria, some people from like Tolarian College, put them on a thing, do a Tolarian Secret Lair. The people who like read the books and are hardcore into the lore, they will buy it. So it's like, but make something for your community in the theme that is already the thing that defines the community. It will sell better. Now, I get it. Magic players are pretty likely to be into D&D, Warhammer 40k, and Lord of the Rings. Okay. But what's left after that? What fandom hasn't been ruined by crappy writing, crappy producers, and let's be honest, SJWs and Hollywood liberals, talentless hack writers that were hired because of their politics and made, just a remake or a sequel garbage because of it? There's not much left. I mean, even just garbage writing, talentless wannabe hacks who had one amazing miracle hit and then couldn't do their job after that. Or as it's more commonly called, Game of Thrones, Lost, The Walking Dead. People are like, oh, you're such brilliant writers. And then the writers make another season. They're like, oh, okay, it was just a fluke. You're awful. I mean, Star Trek, the latest thing with Picard, that was trash. And what are they going to do? A Ghostbusters tie-in? They wouldn't have the balls to do that at this point after that trash movie with unfunny jokes and bad acting. Bad writers ruined that. Not anything about it. It could have been androgynous sock puppets for all I give a shit. If it's funny, I'll watch it. It was garbage. The writing was garbage. The dialogue was garbage. And the movie was garbage. It had nothing to do with women. I don't give a shit who's in it. If it's good, I'll watch it. I don't care what color, gender, age, I don't give a shit about anything about the actors. It's like, just make a good movie or don't. And a bunch of stuff has been ruined in Hollywood lately by just talentless idiots who were hired because they voted correctly by some idiot producer or billionaire's opinion. So they're going to run out of stuff to tie in that anybody gives a shit about real quick. I mean, even Rick and Morty is just cringe at this point. They already did an MLP set. What's left? I mean, why even bother doing this? Like, they knew after The Walking Dead it was controversial, but most people had a problem with, there being new cards that you could only get from the Secret Lair, and now you have to put like Lucille in your deck. That's now part of your, Goblins deck because it just happened to fit really well. Whether you like that fandom or not, whether you like the characters or watch the show or anything, whether you agree with anything about the entire franchise, you're now forced to run that in your deck because it's a better card than something else. And Commander players were pissed, let alone Vintage and Legacy. It was quite the insult. So Obviously, that's what they're fixing with this, but wait till you hear how they fixed it. Oh my gosh, I would almost dare say they didn't. So I'm not going to read this whole thing verbatim. It's just a bunch of, cover your ass. Oh, we were never wrong in the first place, and we're just making adjustments. We're listening to player feedback, blah, 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 blah. What they should say is, there's never been a bigger backlash in the history of Magic as this Secret Lair Walking Dead crap for like 2 giant reasons. 1, it's Walking Dead, and 2, they're selling you brand new singles like 5 at a time. And that was the only place to get them, and they weren't being reprinted anywhere. That is ridiculous. But they want to keep doing it because Secret Lair keeps making money because you guys keep buying it. Can you please not? Oh my gosh. So here's what they're doing about it. Buckle up. So they're going to release a Secret Lair, and then approximately 6 months later, the exact time may vary, they will release them in another product, probably like a standard product, because they said they'll be in the set boosters. That product that they don't make enough of and nobody buys, which... There's a rumor they're merging the set boosters and the draft boosters, and I've heard this from pretty respectable sources, but it might be people just saying it so that it gains traction and becomes true. Kind of like rumor activism or something. That does work. That has worked in the past, by the way. Sometimes it's even like the marketing company behind it themselves, like doing a test run of it, like spreading the rumor themselves. And it's like free market research because it goes viral. So who knows what the real story is there? There's probably layers to this. Nothing's really... as it looks on its face when it comes to Wizards of the Coast. So yeah, I'd love to see set boosters and draft boosters merged just so that there's that and the collectors. There you go. No more fragmentation, no more confusion, no more graphs and spreadsheets to find out what's in what. So they did say, okay, it'll be added to the list, the Secret Lair cards. Well, isn't the list like it's I've heard numbers, it's either 600, 800, 1,000, or 1,200 to 1,400, depending upon how you measure it. And I don't think anybody, even Wizards, knows for sure like the size of the list at any given time. Because I think they tell you what was added to it, but they never tell you what was subtracted from it. I don't know if that's still their policy. I don't know if that's still a problem, but like at least when I first looked at it, like nobody knew how many cards were on the list. Let's just call it an even 1,000. Well, if you got 5 Secret Lair cards, that's a problem. Now, they probably would do like 10 Secret Lairs, so it'd be like 50. But because of this, because that would be X% of the time. What, 0.5% of the time you'd pull one of a product that nobody opens? Well, that's not going to help anybody as far as like, availability. But by the way, when I say it'll be in the set booster, it will be like a actual Magic in-universe version. So all this out-of-universe, Star Wars, Marvel, whatever the hell crap, Lord of the Rings, whatever, they're going to make a real version of it with real characters that are canon, and that's what'll go in the set boosters. That's what will go on the list. By the way, 2022, I'm calling it right now, List Masters. It will literally just be a master set of the cards that were on the list. So right off the bat, they said, we're gonna up their prevalence to make them show up more frequently in that slot on the list to make them, quote, easier to find. Yeah, you make it 5 out of 600, 5 out of 1,000, 5 out of 1,200, nobody's going to find them. And like I said, there's probably going to be multiple Secret Lairs, but I think they'll bring it up to the point where it's like 1 in 5 or something kind of reasonable so that they can kind of flood the market with them. But still, 6 months? Really? You're like, oh, I don't want, freaking, Gollum in my deck. I don't want Gandalf in my deck. I don't want Frodo in my deck. That's a Magic the Gathering themed, Dominaria deck, or it's like a Khans of Tarkir themed 3-color deck with some additions, and then all of a sudden a character from a completely different franchise shows up in it. I'm not into that, but now because I want the real version, I gotta wait 6 months? When this is a clear, like, power card for my Commander deck, I get to play without it for 6 months while other people play with it? Really? I mean, less of a problem in Commander because it's more, policed by the community and less competitive, but Legacy and Vintage, you can't get much more competitive than that. I mean, that's just like total free-for-all, net deck, anything you want, high-powered, win on turn 2, coin flip garbage. Those formats are a joke and an insult to Magic the Gathering. I even called Vintage not Magic the Gathering. It is a different game. So you're going to let people, like, just build a power deck out of these new cards from Secret Lair that have never been seen before. They're right off the bat legal in Vintage and Legacy and Commander, and you're going to, like, lose to them until you can buy the real one, which is probably more in demand, and I don't think it's going to be at a print volume that'll lower the price. I think they'll actually be more expensive than the Secret Lair versions, especially since they didn't define how high they're making the more frequently in the boosters on the list, So a 6-month waiting period if you want the real version that isn't some weird gimmicky out-of-franchise crap that doesn't fit the Magic universe at all. And then there's no knowing what the availability or what the price will look like. It could be triple what the first ones are because we don't know the true print volume. Wonderful. Now, they even left it open to say this, because they know the price will go nuts. In the future, we may reprint these cards and other products will have that flexibility. Yeah, you can do anything you want. Clearly, you are capable and willing to do absolutely anything you want that you think will make money. That's you don't even need to say that, Wizards. So yeah, we might see a third printing in a master set is what they're saying. Or they might throw them into a commander deck or something. Well, that'll be like 2 years later. Like, who wants to wait that long? This is so ridiculous. This is still just utter crap. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants brand new cards in Secret Lairs, whether you're going to do a 6-month waiting period or not. I mean, nobody wants to buy the wrong version when they could get the right version, except not, because they got to wait half a damn year. I mean, this is garbage. You want to introduce new cards? Do it in Modern Horizons. Make a Modern Horizons every year. Inject that shit into Modern and Eternal formats simultaneously. There you go. Done. Problem solved. Like I said, Secret Lairs are going to sell better if they're Magic characters and Magic's theme stuff and like stuff from Magic's history and lore and storyline, because that's what Magic players are into. And I think that if you ask the average player, hey, do you want to run a Slivers deck and then have Homer Simpson in your frickin' Slivers deck because he's just a generally better card than anything else in your deck, and your deck will go up like 10 arbitrary percentage power points if you run Homer Simpson and you don't want to wait 6 months while your deck gets its ass kicked to buy the real version that has an actual sliver on it. Oh, by the way, they're not doing this with the Walking Dead one. They said that one's exempt, that it's already passed. You want that one, buy that one. They are not correcting it and not throwing that into a set booster at all. Wonderful. They also said that like the next ones that they're doing a whole bunch of tie-ins, so probably like every Secret Lair from here till the end of the year is going to be some kind of out-of-universe tie-in thing. Which, by the way, Wizards is losing money because they're paying for the license for it, for the IP, just in case you didn't know how that works. But they tease that it's going to be really, really, really big, and we should all be super excited because it's huge. So, like I said, it's got to be either Marvel, Star Wars, or Star Trek. I can't even think of anything else that they haven't announced yet, because otherwise I'd say Lord of the Rings. I'd almost like to say The Matrix, and I feel like that's coming because The Matrix 4 has already been filmed. And the people behind it would probably license the IP for the characters, like Neo and all that, for free as like a free marketing hype-up thing for the movie. But like, The Matrix came out a while ago and people didn't really like the sequels. So it's like, what kind of like geeky Magic the Gathering crossover kind of thing could there be? I mean, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe, which I can't stand that fandom. Didn't even watch the movies, didn't read the books because the people who love it are so unbearable. And plus, still, like, that was a while ago. I think that was big when I was in high school. So, like I said, what's left that hasn't been ruined? And even if you get like a 20-30% crossover, well, you're at a 3x disadvantage, and then you got to pay 30% licensing fees to license the IP. How did Wizards think that this will sell better than just putting Garruk on a Secret Lair? It just doesn't make sense. There's no way that like a Spider-Man Secret Lair is going to do better than pick anything that's popular from Magic lore, Magic history. It just isn't possible. I think these delusional marketing failure dumb boomers who don't realize how anything on the internet works think that, oh, if we do a Spider-Man one or a Marvel one or a whatever tie-in, we'll get people from that fandom to buy it, so that's a whole new market we're opening it up to, and then that'll pull them into Magic. They'll suddenly get interested. Neither of them are true. Neither of them. If they did Dot Hack, especially Dot Hack Sign, the original anime that's way better than GU, just throwing that out there. If they put those characters on Yu-Gi-Oh cards, do you think that I, who has never touched, played Yu-Gi-Oh, don't even know the rules, would rush out and buy it? Absolutely not, because I'm not a Yu-Gi-Oh player. And I freaking love Dot Hack. Like, that would be in the top 3. I don't know if I mentioned it in this take, because last take was ruined. I screwed up. You'd think I'd be good at audio recordings at this point. But if they made a Secret Lair, Stargate SG-1, Outlaw Star, or Dot Hack, I'm in. Because I'm into that, and I'm into Magic. That's the tipping point. It would be amazing, and I wouldn't even play with the cards. I'd, like, put them in a frame or something. And I'm a cheap ass who don't buy nothing collectible or limited edition or any of that crap, because I ain't got the money. But, like, I'm that big of a fan of those. But if it's Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Flesh and Blood, I'm out. I'd be like, I could literally just go buy officially licensed, like, Funko Pops of whatever anime I'm a fan of. I could just go buy a poster, the original DVDs, something signed by the creators and illustrators of, you know, Dot Hack or Outlaw Star. Why would I go buy a Yu-Gi-Oh card? Well, that would be like, I'd buy a shirt before I buy that. It doesn't make sense. So if they think they're going to pull in people who don't play Magic because they release their favorite characters on a Magic card, no, they're going to go buy any other merch involving it. It just doesn't make sense. It does not make business or financial sense, so I don't get this at all. How they think this is going to make money. I don't get it. If I'm missing something, if there's some factor, if I'm just different than everybody else, let me know down below. But otherwise, I just don't see this working better than ones that are themed on actual Magic shit, trying to sell it to actual Magic people, which makes more sense to me. And that 6 month waiting period is I'd be pissed if it was a month. I mean, I'd be pissed if it was a week. This is ridiculous. You shouldn't give anybody a time advantage on brand new power cards that are legal in 3 primary formats. You just shouldn't do that. That's a dick move. And if you do sell something that people need for their deck, do it through a store, a local gaming store, so that they can actually make some damn money. I mean, this is just outrageous that they're continuing to do this, but they're like, don't worry, guys, we fixed it. Half a year later, we'll throw it in small quantities into a set booster, which nobody buys. Like, are you kidding me? This is so ridiculous. By the way, let me read this little quote. Moving forward, we will continue to listen and evaluate this approach and make changes as needed. Go tell them that this is bullshit and they need to stop doing it completely. Oh, and the number one thing that just makes me think that this was written by an absolute lunatic who knows nothing about Magic. They referred to the cards like 50 times in this article as game pieces. What the f***? Game pieces. Game pieces are like the little metal things in Monopoly. This is called a card game. They're called cards. What do you mean game pieces? I thought they were referring to like things that weren't cards. I'm like, what are you gonna print them out of like aluminum finally and dye subprint so it actually doesn't bend and looks like something? Be hard to make them legal playable unless they're a Planeswalker, but Commander. I mean, I wouldn't mind like a 3D bas relief, molded plastic, Planeswalker card. I think that'd be cool. But game pieces. They aren't their cards. Who the hell doesn't call them cards? Who wrote this? You'd be more accurate calling them fine luxury cardboard rectangles. Only do want to remind you that if you buy like the Captain Kirk one and then the actual Jace one, you can't run 8 copies. They're the same card. Gotta inject a rules reminder into this in case anybody was confused by that. I mean, I guess the cards do have 2 different names. I guess they did need to say it at some point, but it was kind of a given. But now remember, those Godzilla cards had like the real card written in small text under it. So maybe they actually have to make a rule about you can't run 8 because in the rules they have 2 different names and they don't have a subtitle. It's not like a reframe, an alternate, or whatever. I really don't think that if they make like a Star Trek one that they'll put the subtitle of what the card really is on it, especially if they're not going to print the real version for 6 months. I think we're going to just see it as what it is. And then somebody might like accidentally run the same card twice in more than a set of 4, thinking that that was the rule because that is the rule. So they're actually creating another problem here. So yeah, this is just them trying to make an excuse and saying they listen to the community and then continue to do the same greedy bullshit that isn't going to work and isn't going to be popular anyway. It's just another just dumb thing that Wizards is attempting to do and trying to gaslight everybody saying it's all okay, we fixed it now, we listened to you guys and everything's fine now. Nothing's fine about this. Don't do it, Wizards. It's really that simple. So anyway, I made a dank-ass improvised Mediterranean pasta salad and I'm going to go eat it. It's been calling my name this whole recording, but I'm chilling it in the fridge because it was really hot. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time.